What's up, YouTube? Today, I have two things I want to talk about. Two. Not these two, but this is part one. So I got this cube, I don't know, 2 days ago, I think. And immediately after playing with it for like an hour, I think, I hit my PB single of 1 minute 49 seconds. So needless to say, it's good. So I want to make a quick review about this and then get on to the next thing. And it's going to be really quick because this cube has been out for a while. Not the Pro Shop version of it, but the V2 stock. I just don't feel a big need to talk about it. So let's just get to it. So first thing I want to talk about is the amazing corner cutting this thing has. Like, it corner cuts, oops, getting caught on a piece there. Corner cuts without a problem. Like, so effortless. Hang on. So, my corner cutting isn't really that great right now. It's kind of hard to describe if you're not, doing it yourself, but it's a lot more comfortable than this one. So, like, if you turn there, it's very much snappier and kind of jarring, and it doesn't really feel that good. And I think that's due to the more circular design of the centerpiece. And then the second thing I want to talk about is immediately the size. So I do understand what some people were saying when they didn't want to get the V2 because of the size. For me, it works because I don't really have big hands. So the size works perfectly for me. This one's just huge and not really comfortable over long sessions. The question I see people asking a lot more now is, should I get the V2M or the V2LM? And the V2LM goes right in the middle of these two cubes. So this one's really small, this one's really big, and the LM is just like right there in the middle. So if you have smaller hands or just like smaller cubes, I would probably say get the V2. If you don't really care about the size and you're not sure if the V2 is going to be too small, but you know this is a little bit too big, get the LM. And another thing, this cube is just so insanely good. It's made me want to practice Megaminx nonstop. So if you want to get into Megaminx, I would definitely get the V2 or the V2LM. Or the non-magnetic version, whichever you want. Magnetic versions are all the hype these days. I've been cubing before magnets were really a thing. Like maybe 3 years before magnets became a really big deal. So I definitely recommend that magnets do help keep it stable. But if you're a purist or you're just not willing to spend, the extra money to get a magnetic version, then just stick with the normal one. I'm trying to see my tablet here. It's my camera's kind of filthy. Okay, so that's about it for these cubes. Let's move on to something that's really bugging me, and that is look ahead. So I see people all the time, saying, this is how you look ahead, this is where look ahead starts, this is where this happens, this is how you do this, blah, 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 blah. Bunch of useless stuff until you're at a certain point. They never show you how you're supposed to look ahead. So they teach you how to start your look ahead, and they tell you, oh, look ahead during this point, but they don't really ever tell you how to get there. And they don't point out really, really, really obvious things. So one of the things that I do to help me look ahead is during certain OLLs or even F12s is I recognize the pattern and do it over and over and over and over and over again until I can see some uh, consistent recognition of a certain type of pattern. So like this OLL, it's one of the basic ones. Most people do it, I think, like this, with taking the fat edge out and doing it. I really hate doing that. Oops, wrong one. Hang on. So I prefer doing it like this. Let's see if I can do it here. Oops, hang on. What the heck? Okay. So I prefer doing it with just the F face, not doing it with a wide F move or a wide B move, or however you want to do it. So the first thing of having good look ahead and the start to good look ahead is having pattern recognition. Second thing that really bugs me is they tell you how to spend time on big cubes. You know, put 3x3 away, spend time on 4 through 7 and Megaminx maybe. Which I agree with. That's how I got sub 30 very, very, very easily. So when they tell you how to do big cubes, they don't really necessarily tell you the best way. Like, I know Kevin Hayes has mentioned things before, but he does his normal stupid alg out of habit, and those are his words, not mine. So like when you start centers on 5x5, you're supposed to plan out at least 2 bars. So let's just make 2 bars real quick. And there. So now we have 2 white bars, and we can finish the center with this piece, and this piece. So you're gonna obviously find that really obnoxious and repetitive because everyone says it, and then you just solve the center. And when you start the second center, that's really, 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 really a good idea to start looking for your next center, because there are only, like this has been taken away, so your second center pieces aren't going to be there. If you pay attention, you can see you might have a bar or an easy bar right opposite your last center. And then this is going to be my next center, because I can already see that I would have these pieces or this whole thing preserved if I did centers in a really efficient way. So the way I would do it is like, I see these 2 pieces and this piece back here. So I would do this, make them opposite each other, do M, U2, M prime. That keeps this preserved. And the thing that bugs me so bad is when people decide to rotate to the top, insert, and then re-rotate. It bugs me so much. When the much easier thing to do is this. You create a bar. You see the bar right here. You see these 2 right here. You would take this bar, flip it over, and then just, sorry, trying to keep it in the camera here. So, no rotation necessary. And when you're doing that from this angle, when you have them on the right and left side, so you have it here, or I'll just do it facing you. So you have it facing here. No rotation. And it's much better because you can start your look ahead in a better place. You can see centers without having to rotate and try and figure out what's going to be the best one. So like I said, this right here was going to be my next center. And I knew that would be the case because I can preserve stuff. So you just start making your next center. And the next best way to start look ahead is when you create these two bars, and then you automatically look for the last three pieces of your center. So for me, that's here, here, and here. So you find the three pieces, connect them all together, so like that, and then you have it back here. And because you know where this is, and you should know where your open bar is back here, you should just be able to insert it without looking, and then you can immediately start going, oh, I can start on this blue center, and just start right away. There's no pause, there's no trying to see what's better. And then again, you make the last three pieces like this. They're blue right there, and we have this right here. So we can just do, and then we can automatically start on red or green. I would personally start on green just because I think it was easier. And then of course you have your last bar. Oops, I messed something up there on my yellow center. Okay, so that's how you start Good Look Ahead. Second thing is like when you're doing like Megaminx and you see F2L pairs. When you see F2L pairs on Megaminx, you always want to solve them first. And obviously I'm not going to go into the big details of, have Good Look Ahead from the very, very start, because, you need to find your star pieces, and you also need to have good F2L. That's a given. Everybody knows that. I would also recommend going and watching Side of the King and his sub 20 video, I think it is. J Perm has a good one. But anyway, when you start Megaminx, you might want to start looking for these obvious pairs right there. See, that's yellow, purple, white. You got the good stuff. So just keep track of the edge pieces like this. They actually got paired up. And then insert them. Whenever you see a cross piece, insert it, no hesitation. And then you can also solve things from a back angle or an angle that's kind of weird, because you can actually manipulate pieces a little bit easier when taking advantage of different faces. So like when you see something like this, it's an easy 2-gen algorithm. It's not really an algorithm, it's more of like an intuitive solve method. A lot of F2L is really intuitive on Megaminx because there are different ways you can manipulate your edges. So like you see these flipped pieces, I would put it in the back, solve it, and insert it in the quickest way possible. And yeah, you don't want to use like really bad algorithms or waste moves on Megaminx, because your move count is really important. So when you find, I do recommend starting your cross or your star first before F2L, but if you see an F2L piece, solve it immediately. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 F2L pieces solved, and the second one, or the last one, sorry, is right there. Now all of it's solved. And my color order goes yellow, purple, green, red, and so on. So I automatically know I'm starting for the yellow face. So when I'm inserting the last F2L piece, or the last F2L pair, I'm automatically looking for this one and or this one back here, yellow, green. And you want to track those when you start inserting your last edge for F2L. And then you can start your S2L, which should be fairly simple. That was the wrong slot. So when you find your S2L slots, solve them immediately. Obviously don't try and do fancy tricks Block building is a good idea, but don't try and do anything too fancy because you might lose track of it. So my color order goes yellow, purple, and when I was inserting the last yellow pair back here, I saw this purple and blue, light blue edge right here. So you can immediately solve that without even hesitating. So always be looking ahead to different things when you start your last slot, kind of like PLL and OLL, or F2L and then OLL, because creating patterns and noticing different things is definitely going to help you in your look ahead in the future. So like I can see these two right here, and I can just instantaneously do them because I know all the moves are going to make these generally untouched, except for the pair that was going to be created. So you can look in the different slots around the cube to find your next pieces when you're just doing, you know, like a sledge or whatever, or a sexy move. So I see this piece, and I see its counter piece right over here. We can insert them into the back right here, and notice that I'm going to start solving this piece, or this face next. And this piece is already where it needs to be, and we're not going to touch it because it moved out of the range of motion. So always be looking ahead to things that are in your range of motion. Those are the things that are definitely going to help you get faster with look ahead. Definitely, to be fast, you should definitely try and learn things such as COLL. Forget soon and anti-soon. I don't use any of the L COLLs. I use about 3 from the others, just because some of them are finger trick friendly and others aren't really necessarily that good. So definitely learn COLL tricks like this. So I recommend starting with the H COLL first, just because they have the least amount. It's 4, whereas everyone else, every other one has 6. So it's a little bit different. So you're going to see this type of pattern, and you're going to constantly, going to find things that will change in COLL. And since you're only going to get 3 algorithms, that's either H-perm, U-perm, or Z-perm, you can check and see which corners are where, and that will you can ultimately recognize those to see what case you'll get, even if you get a PLL skip. So that's all for today's video. Just kind of wanted to make a quick ramble. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.